excellent angles. Everybody, happy Thursday. We are about to dive straight into our warm-up, and we've got the lovely Jeremiah here to help us out today. We will kick off with your 10 squat rotation. So getting to the bottom of your active squat hold, making sure that your arms are on the inside of your knees. From here, you want to aim to grab onto your feet. You're going to take one arm up. You're going to stretch towards the ceiling, making sure your eyes follow your fingertips. So get a nice big twist through that trunk. You'll then take it across to the other side. You'll do 10 of those. Moving on to your RDLs, we'll have 10 of these as well. So feet underneath your hips. We want to see you break at the hips and knees. So a slight bend in the knees. Send those booties back behind you and up towards the ceiling so you can create that stretch in your hamstrings. When you get to that position, stand up, squeeze your bum and squeeze your hammies. You'll then move on to your 5 bridge walks. So taking the seat on the floor, laying down. A couple of things that you need to always remember. First thing is you need to keep those hips as high as possible throughout this movement. Second thing is you want to keep your toes off the ground at all times. You'll take a few little baby tiny steps all the way out in front until your legs are fully extended. You'll then bring those legs all the way back in under your butt. Remember, small steps out, small steps back in, keeping those hips nice and level. You'll then fling over for some push-ups. You'll have 10 here. Try them from your toes, but you need to get that chest to floor with every rep, and you must lock your elbows out at the top of each rep. If you don't have perfect technique from your toes, we would much prefer you to drop down to the knees and then work that range. You'll finish off with 5 V rollovers. So taking the seat on the floor, you're going to swing those legs back behind your head. You'll swing forward, split those legs, and then reach your hands in between your legs. If you are a little bit cold, just start these a little bit slower. Don't worry about going too far back or too far forward. Just start slow and then work up that range as you warm up. Remember, 5 minutes through, check those reps, and then cycle through as many rounds as possible. Okay, for today's workout, we have a 4-time style. That means that you will be completing 3 separate circuits with a certain amount of rounds that you'll need to complete. Today will be scored. We would like to know how long it takes you to complete the workout from the very start to the very end. So get that stopwatch and just remember to check that time at the very end when you're all done and dusted. You're going to begin with completing 9 rounds of the following exercises. We have your burpees. So feet wide, dropping those hips and chest down to the floor, shooting the bum up in the air, remembering to keep those feet flat when you jump them back in, and then jump and clap behind your head to complete each rep. You'll move on to your 10 push-ups. So just like warm-up, chest needs to go down to the floor, keep those hip bones away, and then you need to push your body aggressively away from the floor, locking those elbows to complete each rep. Try these from your toes, and again, if you are lacking range, drop down to the knees and stick to that variation. You'll move on to your 20 step forward lunges in this first circuit, so feet underneath your hips, take a long step forward, lower that back knee down, power back, and then alternate across to the other side. Remember to keep your feet in line with underneath your hips. You're not on a tightrope, so don't lunge like you're on one. You'll need to complete 9 full rounds of those 3 exercises. Once you've done that, we want you to rest a mandatory 60 seconds. So you absolutely have to stand up, drink some water, shake your arms and legs out. 60 seconds is your rest period here. You'll then move into your next circuit where you'll need to complete a total of 6 rounds. Now with this particular circuit, we do have a weighted variation. If you don't have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, you can use a weight still. To do that, you'll need to grab onto a bag. We've done one just before. Get something that weighs something. So it might be some bricks, some stones, whatever it is. Wrap it in some towel so there's no sharp edges, and then place it in your bag. We'll show you the weighted variation first. So we'll be kicking off with your 12 single arm cleans. So grabbing onto your dumbbell or your kettlebell. With your single arm cleans, we want to see this. You've got a couple of options. Starting from the inside of your legs is one option with a slight bend in the legs and your arm extended. As you stand up, it is the power of your quads that's going to assist that weight to move. You're going to stand nice and fast. The head of the dumbbell needs to come to the top of your shoulder before you bring it straight back down in between your feet. If you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable doing that variation, just take the weight to the outside of your legs and keep those feet that little bit more narrow. Do what suits you. Everyone has their own variation where you can move properly in that type of exercise. If you don't have a dumbbell, grab onto that weighted bag that you've just created. You're going to grab onto it with both hands from the inside of your legs. As you stand up, you're gonna bring that bag to one of your shoulders. You'll then bring it back down the line of your body, rebend at the legs, and then stand up nice and fast again, but bring it to the other shoulder. So it ends up being a bag to shoulder instead of that single arm clean. Your second exercise of this circuit is your 10 dumbbell or bag thrusters. If you do have your weight, that weight's going to start at the top of your shoulder. You'll pass through your full squat, so sit below hip crease. You'll stand fast, pop that hip open, and then finish with that full press above your head. Remember, bicep next to your ear, core nice and tight. You'll do 5 on one side and then 5 on the other side. If you are on the bag variation for this exercise, that bag will start at one of your shoulders. You'll pass through your full squat as per normal, stand fast. The bag will press up above the center line of your head and then down to the other shoulder. So you will alternate with each and every rep. Your last exercise for this second circuit will be your 8 get-ups. So a couple of variations here. We'll show you the harder one first. So you're going to sit down, you're going to swing those legs back for momentum, you're going to swing them forward, and then aim to stand up without using your hands. If you are mobile enough, please stick to that variation. If you feel like you can't do that perfectly, use your hands as much as you need to. So you can assist your way on the way down, use your hands on the way up, and then stand till you are standing completely tall. So again, do the one that's good for you. If you need to use your hands, it's more than okay. After you've done your 6 rounds of those 3 bad boys, you'll then rest another 60 seconds. Again, it's mandatory, you must rest so we know you're recovered and ready to go for the next and final circuit. Your last circuit, you'll have only 3 rounds to get through. You'll be kicking off with your 20 Bulgarian split squat. So you will need to grab onto a bench, whether you place your foot on the couch or a chair or a low table, whatever it may be. From here, you're going to take one leg and place it on that bench. Again, do what's comfortable for you. You can place your shoelaces on the bench or the ball of your foot. From here, you're going to pass through your full lunge position. So that back knee is aiming to get as low to the floor as possible, and then standing all the way up, locking that front leg at the top of each rep. Please make sure that that chest doesn't fall down and collapse at any point. You need to stay nice and strong. If you have a weight and you'd like to add a weight to the top of your chest, feel free to. Your second exercise here will be your 10 broad jumps. So you're going to start by squatting nice and deep. As you come up, you're going to use your arms to help you swing and give you some momentum. You're going to jump as far forward as possible. Remember, as you land into the next one, re-bend at the legs. You can do a broad jump one way, you can turn around if you don't have much room, and do a broad jump the other way until you've accumulated 10. We'll then move on to your 20 single leg glute bridges. So taking a seat, you're going to bend one leg so it's nice and tucked in towards your butt. The other leg is going to go up towards the ceiling so your knees are always in the same line. From here, you're going to push those hips up as high as possible. You're then going to lower down nice and slowly. You'll notice as Jeremiah does this, he's not letting his knees move around and disconnect. He's also not pushing his leg back behind his head, which is a cheating rep. So just make sure that everything's super still. Squeeze your booty on that side and then lower down nice and slowly. You'll do 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. To finish off this crazy, awesome, and amazing workout, we have your squat jumps. So sitting nice and low so we know you're at full depth, and you need to jump like you mean it. So get as much air between those feet and the floor as possible and re-land into your next rep. Remember, that one will be 3 rounds only because it is quite a lot of exercises. Remember to check your stopwatch at the very end of the workout and then log it in your SugarWOD app so we know your total time. Have heaps of fun, guys. We'll see you soon.